Hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Taubenslag, the proud son of Elliott Taubenslag, while we're all here. When I was a child, I was known, many of you probably know my nickname as Little what? Elliott. And I always hated it because it was annoying to me, but as I got older, and especially now, it's really a badge of honor. So thank you for celebrating with us today, and let a life well lived begin.
If you were going to describe Elliott just using adjectives, what adjectives would you use?
Crazy.
Honest and honorable.
Old soul.
He's a spunky, exciting, surprising man.
Energetic, relentless, creative.
Well, he's crazy, old, Mexican, a lunatic? No, that's a no.
Inspirational. Eccentric.
Quirky, family.
He's funny. But to describe Elliott to people who don't know him, you'd have to say you missed the greatest experience of your life in not knowing this man, because he has brought such joy, matched with aggravation, to millions of people, and he will never stop till the day he goes up to that great theater in the sky.
I would call him the amazing Mr. Taubenslag.
That's right.
Amazing is pretty much the word for L.
Yes.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
Many people have been mentored, and it's not always something that happens in your lifetime that you get an opportunity to thank your mentor or a teacher that has meant a lot to you. And I have somebody in the audience tonight who has been my mentor since I was 8 years old in drama. I did work with him in New York City. He flew in tonight. This is the first time he's ever seen anything I've directed, and I owe everything I am to this man. And I'm really excited that he's here tonight, and I'd like to personally thank him, and that is Mr. Elliott Taubenslag. Elliott, can you stand up?
Maureen, can I say something for a second?
Sure.
I flew in today. It was a 12-hour trip, and I was really excited about coming. I wouldn't have missed this for anything. However, I'm very concerned right now.
He's very concerned.
Right. In other words, when they find out that part of the curtain is being used for your dress. Dad was an incredible guy, funny. 3 years before he passed, 3 years ago, he gave me an envelope and he said, Michael, I wrote my own eulogy. And he said, I want this read when I pass at my memorial service. And I said, are you sure? And he said, yes. I said, well, Dad, I'll doctor it in case it's lousy. And my nephew Dan is going to come up, wherever you are, and read my dad's eulogy. Daniel Taubenslag. A captain in the Air Force. Very proud of this man.
Hi, everybody. So I will be reading Elliott Taubenslag's, my grandfather's eulogy. And when I read this, I don't want you to imagine me up here. I want you to imagine Elliott Taubenslag himself speaking these words, because these are his words. Actually, you know what? I'm going to help you with that. All right, so now that you all have that lovely mental image, greetings. It was in all caps. If you're sitting in this room listening to this message, it means that you're here and, well, I'm not. I realize that giving a eulogy for oneself is a bit out of the ordinary, but then again, when was the last time I did something ordinary? If there's anyone out there foolishly feeling sorry or sad over my departure, don't. It's been a long and fruitful ride. The reason for my writing this is to say thank you for bringing so much joy into my life, giving my life and existence a purpose. First, there was Myrna, whom I met when she was only 17 and I was 22. Prior to meeting her, I dated many and often. But none of my dates were what you would call very attractive. They were quite average or less. Then I met a girl on a blind date that was so attractive that I was sure she was sorry she accepted the date. She was shapely, large-breasted, tan, with beautiful sparkling eyes and a cheerful smile. What could she see in me? Short, slightly overweight, and almost no money. Maybe it was the abundance of curls upon curls that sat upon my youthful head. At the end of our first date, I shook her hand and we said goodnight. I was too afraid to offend her with a kiss. After all, who kisses a goddess? After our second date, I braved up and a peck on the cheek. But by our next date, we both puckered up and let it rip. Wow. What the hell had I been waiting for? She wasn't just a goddess, she was a sex goddess. I want to clarify that this is Elliott talking, and I am not referring to my own grandmother as a sex goddess. I had found the woman that I would spend the rest of my life with. When I proposed to her, I told her that I would probably never be rich, but that I would make our marriage exciting. It would never be dull. I think I've kept my promise, and I hope I made her as happy as she made me. This marriage was filled with laughter, as well as love and pride. We produced 3 children who have given us much to be proud of. They, in spite of us, grew to adulthood and have each achieved much in their own way. David, Debbie, Michael, how can I tell you how happy you made me with your love, your caring, your constant attention, your frequent phone calls. You're sharing all kind of information about what was happening in your lives. This was very important to an old man. And how you never lost patience with all my questions and suggestions. How did you handle all that? On top of that, you gave us 5 wonderful grandsons: Nick, Robbie, Joshua, Adam, and the best of them all, Danny. One of them, Nick, even has a flair, no, a gift for writing. I have been proud of all 5, and I'm sure they will continue to achieve and bring even more pride to our family. And when I say family, I must also include Patty, Dominic, and Donna, who always treated us with care and respect. It was always a treat to be with them. Poor Dominic had to put up with me for 8 weeks each summer as I ran the East Brunswick Children's Theater. I've been told that fish and guests should be thrown out after 3 days, and yet Dominic kept us for weeks without complaining. My family extends to beyond the ones that I've spoken about so far. There is, of course, Myrna's brother and sister-in-law, Harvey and Merle, with whom we've had a close and loving relationship. Then there are friends who have become extended family. Naomi, whom I've had lovingly tortured for just about 50 years. How she took the teasing, the bickering for so many years, without her husband and my good friend Mort to protect her. Even sharing a closet dressing room for changing costumes. She deserves martyrdom. If she had any sense at this point, Now that I'm gone, she should be yelling, "Free at last! Free at last!" Prepare for another mental image. Then there's Evelyn, whom I met when we moved into Bangor Court directly across from the condo. How this poor woman must have suffered each morning as she sat down at her kitchen window having a cup of coffee, looking at me, open my door, still in my undershorts, while I reached for the morning newspaper. However, I did notice that Evelyn's blinds were never closed. So I thought to myself, what the hell? Perhaps maybe since her terrific husband Lenny was gone, this was her daily thrill. Maybe it was a good thing. Along the way, I hope I did a number of good things. I don't believe I've done too many bad things. I know I've never intentionally hurt anyone's feelings, and I've tried to help when my efforts could do some good, and I genuinely believe that I helped some young people get through hard times by just listening and accepting, as well as offering advice when it was asked for. I recognize that I'm far from a saint. I'm much too horny for that. I lost my place. But I have tried to live with the philosophy that a black teacher whom I knew introduced me to. One day he said to me, "Elliott, you have to make up your mind. Are you here for a season or are you here for a reason?" And I replied, "What are you talking about?" You see, if you're here for a season, you're like a leaf. You grow, you develop, and when it's time, you wither away and finally blow away. And you end up on a part of a pile of other dead leaves. But if you're here for a reason, you do things, accomplish things, and your life was worthwhile. I have thought about what my friend has taught me many times. We all know that I never achieved greatness, but that doesn't matter. What does matter to me is that I attempted to be here for a reason and not just a season. I hope that my family and friends will think of me as having succeeded. In conclusion, I'd like to say that I hope what I have written down doesn't sound like a mushy soap opera, all sweet and rosy, because no one's life is like that. Mine certainly wasn't. There were times of problems, sickness, operations, frustrations, worries, losing loved ones, etc. I guess I could compare my life to a roller coaster ride. Exciting, full of shrieks and sudden jolts, lots of laughter, lots of scary movements, but at the end, a feeling of, wow, that was fun. Thank you all for making my ride through life so much fun. Elliott. I'm keeping this on.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Again, a captain in the United States Air Force. I'm very proud of you, man. Around 15 years ago, I was rewriting Alice in Wonderland, and I wrote a song for the Cheshire Cat that she sings to Alice. And basically the song is called Believe in Yourself. And it was really my dad's philosophy about how he dealt with children. So I'm going to bring up Sharon Farrell. She's going to sing. By the way, if anybody's interested, we'll be selling these hats in the lobby for $3. This right here is a Pinocchio hat. If it was green, it would be a Peter Pan hat. Blue, a Jack and the Beanstalk hat. Brown, a Pocahontas hat. Whatever show we did, we had to wear them. Sharon Farrell.
Hello.
If you believe in you, like I believe in you, you can do anything, anything. If you believe in you, your wishes can come true. You can be anything, anything. You believe. disappears. You've already come this far. But don't be afraid of mistakes that you've made. Just be proud of the person you are. If you believe in you, like I believe in you, you can have anything, anything. If you believe, dream beautiful dreams. Have faith from the start. Believe in yourself. Believe in your heart. If you believe in you, like I believe in you, you can go anywhere, anywhere. If you believe, if you believe in you, your daydreams can come true. You can have anything, anything. If you believe, 'cause when I look at you, I see what you can do. I know that you can go far. So follow my lead and I know you'll succeed. Just be proud of the person you are. If you believe in you, like I believe in you, you can do anything, anything. If you believe, dream beautiful dreams. Have faith from the start. Believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Yes, believe in yourself. Believe in your heart.
Hi there. So I was in Elliott's summer theater for 11 years, and I wrote this to Michael, and he asked me to read it today. So. When I was a young child, my sister and I used to use our mother's old dining room curtains and put on shows in our basement. We would cut mustaches out of brown construction paper and use old prom dresses from our mother, and she would type out all the quoted lines from a storybook, and we would piece it into a production. At the age of 8, I joined Elliott Taubenslag's East Brunswick Children's Summer Theater program and discovered there were so many others like us out there. And at the helm, Michael was holding down the fort that summer, with Elliott returning shortly after what I think was a heart attack I can only surmise came from the jubilant and boisterous way he would deliver everything he said. I learned quickly that Elliott was creating a culture among us that replicated his zest for life, full of joy, love, support, enthusiasm, and listening. Somehow, this grown man had accomplished taking that exact same passion we had putting up a show in our basement and allowed hundreds of children each summer a safe space to do the same thing on a much larger scale. He made playing pretend a trend. He taught us how to band together. The first thing you learn in summer theater is to physically lean toward the person speaking on the stage and listen. I attended a well-renowned music theater conservatory and worked 8 years after college in theater, and I promise there are many, many actors and humans in the world who still have not learned this skill. The second lesson was that you have to deliver your lines to the last row of the audience or they wouldn't hear you. Speak up. A life lesson drilled into our minds daily. These are pretty much the two fundamentals of communication that can lead to solving almost any life issue, and Elliott possessed more of these skills in his pinky finger than many people could learn how to practice in a lifetime. Elliott knew how to praise you to high heaven when you did something generous, paid attention, and remembered something, or were brave. He also made you feel terrible if you treated someone poorly, but forgave you quickly and embraced you when you accepted and made changes after that realization. He had a job for every child, funneling self-worth and confidence to every last participant at camp. He made us work hard and feel the reward of self-pride when we had completed our task. And that was wonderful, and also enough motivation to make us want to be better all the time. The lyrics he wrote and taught us always had a way of bringing appreciation for the world around us into the picture. And yet he also wasn't afraid to make being a little evil a lot of fun. He made us laugh at ourselves and each other and taught us that the most important thing was not our own solo performances, but that as a team we told the story well. The theater, life, and playing well with and accepting others' skills Elliott gave us at summer theater camp were invaluable and have been ingrained in my heart throughout my life since the many comedy-filled summers we all spent together with him at camp. And when I think of that time, I know his spirit is alive in us all. We love you, Elliott, and we know wherever you are, the sun will be shining bright and smiling overhead. And finally, sadly but joyfully, I must close with this, as it fittingly encapsulates both his sentimentality and optimism, as when I hear it, I know I will forever look forward to seeing everyone next summer. Now the time has come when we must say goodbye, farewell, or even toodaloo, but happiness never ends.
By a show of hands, how many people did summer theater? Clap your hands if you did summer theater. How many of you performed in New York City? How many of you portrayed Tweedledee or Tweedledum? I was one of them. We have now a number, a vaudeville number. Is it up? That's my dad when he was 18 years old. With a good friend of his, David, who was that? Seymour Camp, a great friend of his. They used to perform at the, I guess, Fort Kilmer for the, for the soldiers. Many of you don't, for the what, David? Italian, what? My brother didn't want to speak, but he finally did. Yay. Many of you also don't know, when Elliott was young, he performed with Lucille Ball, Vivian Vance, Paul Muni. He performed at McCarter Theater. He grew up performing. That's how he basically lived his life. Now we're going to do a number which is perfect for Dad, the Tweedledee and Tweedledum number from Alice in Wonderland. They'll never split us apart, performed by Michael and Mara Fleming. Take it away.
Partners,
Mary, you going to talk or no? I guess not. Are you going to talk? Here she goes.
Come here, Mike. On behalf of all of us here from Summit Theater, all the way from, whether you flew in from Plattsburgh or Bagari, Rottingham, thank you, Michael T. Thank you, thank you, Debbie. Thank you for sharing your father with all of us, because he was a father to all of us, too.
An artist friend of Dad made this of Dad. This is a coconut, and it does really look like him. Talking about Dad, my beautiful sister Debbie would like to come up and say some words. My older sister Debbie would like to say some words.
I actually have a Father's Day letter I wrote in 2006. And when I wrote it and read it to him on that day, he was so moved and he said, Deb, one day I'm not going to be here. Will you please read it at my funeral? And I said, okay. So here we go. Father's Day 2006. Dear Dad, the other day I was reflecting about my life and realized that I had quite an extraordinary adventure with you as my dad. As you know, when I was graduating college, I went to seek counseling to help me decide what I should do next. She had me talk about my childhood, and after hearing my stories, believed that I was completely delusional. She thought, how could anyone live in such a fantasy world? This girl really needs help. How could she have possibly known that my dad created a world of magic, make-believe, and wonder, not just to me, but to hundreds, maybe even thousands of other kids who were lucky enough to cross his path? I remember you brought a train with real seats into our backyard where all the kids in the neighborhood would play for hours. I remember you taking us for a horse and buggy ride around the block, which you stored in the neighbor's garage before they moved in. I remember you dressing up in a gorilla costume, waiting for some stupid teenager to dare try and squish our pumpkins. And boy, did we laugh when you would run out of the house and scare the crap out of them. I remember you throwing us a Halloween party in the basement. You turned off the lights and told a scary story in complete darkness, how a lady died in a car accident and came back piece by piece. You then passed around spaghetti as her innards, olives as her eyes, and God knows what you used for her brain, but it quickly became a food fight which you eagerly participated in. I remember you screaming the loudest on roller coasters and throwing up on one that went round and round. I remember every weekend of my childhood was spent performing in the family children's theater business in New York City. Before the shows, I would run around the block to the candy store or walk the 2.5 blocks to Woolworth's for their banana split special. David would spend his time getting in some kind of trouble that you didn't know about, except for the time he was caught in the balcony trying to gather enough spit to aim for a bold spot, seated below waiting for the show to start. We had no supervision. We just knew the rules: be dressed, made up, and in place on stage before the curtain rose. I remember you letting me sleep over at Jules' house in the late 1960s. I was only 11, but got my first real-life experience what it was like for African American people living in the South Bronx. I was the only white face around, but I had a ball roller skating and going to a gospel church. It was amazing. I didn't feel different because you taught us to be colorblind, and I loved it. I remember you driving me and my friends to the high school dance and honking the horn and announcing to the boys, "Here they are, the prettiest girls are here," and we all freaked out. We ran out of the car and I knew they would never take another ride to the dance with you again. But I also had great comfort knowing that you did the exact same thing to David. I remember there was a boy in my 10th grade class who would shuffle his feet and walk with his head down. He never looked anyone in the eye. He was always by himself because he didn't have any friends. You confronted him one day and commanded him to show up at the drama club rehearsal after school. And you announced to all the kids that he was your new assistant, and everyone had to report to him first. The boy beamed and became a hit with all the drama kids. And you mentioned not long ago that he is now working in a New York theater for a stagehand union. You really made a difference in that kid's life. I remember seeing older teens in our home. Sometimes you would hire them as cleaning girls to help them out with money. Sometimes they had no place to go because they were thrown out or hurting in some other way. Our home was always open to whoever needed you. You helped so many kids that needed a kind word, a helping hand, or a major boost in self-esteem. One day when I came home from college, I saw strange shoes and clothes in my room. Someone who needed a place to stay was sleeping in my room. I didn't care, because it is what it is. I saw this, and it registered with me. Your example taught me that compassion and kindness is just the right thing to do. I remember you asking me firmly to go out on a first date for 3 of David's teenage friends. You and David ran up the stairs to my room to make sure that I said yes when each one called. You were so concerned about their self-esteem. You wanted them to have a positive experience. I knew that, so I agreed. I hope David has stopped teasing them now. I remember when you bought the Fillmore East Rock Concert Hall and had all of mine and David's friends come in and paint the 1,000 plus seats. It was really cool, but nobody wanted to paint over the famous signatures in the dressing room. I remember in college when all my term papers flew out of my 3-ring binder on a really windy day. I called you up devastated, and you came to my rescue that night and rewrote all of my papers. You got straight A's. I also remember how you drove up to campus the day you were putting Candy, our dog, down. You let me say goodbye to her. I never forgot that. I remember the hundreds, maybe thousands of people who stopped me on the street when they found out I was your daughter. All of them had a story to tell me how you changed them or their kid's life. One particular lady hugged me and wouldn't let go. She started to cry, and when she calmed herself, told me how you saved her life. So many others are still stopping me to tell me stories about you. Even recent stories, because you are still giving of yourself even today. Well, now that I've reflected how wonderful my life is because of you, I'm hoping that you can grant me one more wish. Could you please sing Miss Logan? I loved it as a little girl, and it still brings me such joy when you perform it. Once again, thank you for being one of the world's best dads, not just to me, but for all the kids who needed you and still do. Love, Deb.
Debbie, you made me cry before I have to sing. Thanks. Dad had 2 trunk songs. Actors, a trunk song is a song that you can just pull out and sing at the spur of the moment. If somebody says, hey, who can sing a song? My dad went on cruise ships all the time. He would say, I would sing a song, I'll sing a song. And he always sang 2. One was I'm in love with Miss Logan. Deb, this is for you. This song was originated in the show called New Faces in 1952, and it was sung by Robert Clary. Anybody remember who he was? He was LeBeau on Hogan's Heroes. And I think my dad did it better than him. So here we go. What's the matter with me? What's the matter with me? School is let out, and it's way after 3. But I'm sitting here with my chin on my knee. Say, what is the matter with me? I ought to go home, and I want to go home. But I know darn well I'm not gonna go home. 'Cause I'm sitting here with my chin on my knee. Say, what is the matter with me? What if the gang saw me sitting like this? They'd say I was waiting for some guile. So what if they saw me? They couldn't hear me. 'Cause I'm not waiting for any girl. Then what am I waiting here for? And why am I watching the door? I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with Miss Logan. Like an angel from heaven above. That's Miss Logan. Though I still hate arithmetic, I'll do arithmetic long as Miss Logan is teaching arithmetic. I'm in love with Miss Logan, and I wish I was not. Miss Logan, you're the best teacher they have in this whole school. No, I mean it, you really are, Miss Logan, you're the best. I'd do anything for you, Miss Logan, anything. You want me to carry your books? I'll carry your books. You want me to clean the erasers? I'll slap them clean. I can wash the boards for you. I'd do anything for you, Miss Logan. I don't know if you heard, but the 5th grade class, we're having a dance on Friday, and I didn't have anybody to dance with, and I was what? You what? Miss Logan! La 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 la. Miss Logan! I didn't see you standing there. Miss Logan, what? No, music off. Music off. I didn't see you standing there. No, me? I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just talking to myself. Well, who are you waiting for, Miss Logan? Your fiance? I didn't know you were getting married. Next week? Oh, that's nice, Miss Logan. What? I'm a funny kid? Yeah, I guess I am a funny kid. Goodbye, Miss Logan. I guess she's right. I am a funny kid. If there's one person I do not love, it's Miss Logan. If there's one person I'd like to shove, it's Miss Logan. She could talk to me, sing to me, hug me and cling to me. Candy could bring to me, won't be nothing to me. I don't love old Miss Logan, but I wish I was dead. That's Dad at 8 years old. 8 years old. Not for a very sad moment in our presentation. My mom, the love of Elliott's life, they were married for 62 years, suffers from Alzheimer's. And when my dad passed, we chose not to tell my mom because she wouldn't understand. And she's not even here today because it would be too hard on us and her. But I guess about a year ago, I was going through some of Dad's papers, and I found a letter that my mom wrote to Dad on her 71st birthday, and it really summed up their marriage. And this gives my mom her voice at this memorial service. And my nephew Rob is going to read it. Rob Taubenslag.
So my birthday gift to you on my birthday. So 'tis the end of my 71st year, a time to think about my life and the choices that I've made. The wisest choice that I ever made was to marry you, my husband of 51 years. You've made me very happy for more than half a century, and I'm grateful to you for that. When you asked me to marry you, you said I may not make you wealthy, but I promise you that my life, or that life with me, will not be boring. The first part of that statement proved to be untrue, and the second part has definitely been true. I can honestly say that I've never been bored. You have made my life an exciting adventure, one literally after the other. You took me to Europe only a few days after we were married, and I can still feel the excitement I felt then when we went inside the Colosseum and the catacombs. All the Latin books that I had studied in school had come to life for me. Then, less than 10 years later, we started to travel, and we have not stopped yet. You have literally shown me almost all of the Northern Hemisphere, most of Europe, Israel, much of the US, Canada, Alaska, Hawaii, China, Hong Kong, Mexico, some of Central America, and most of the Caribbean islands. Are there any that we have missed? And while we're still young enough to have the strength to travel, I would like very much to see more of the Orient and Australia. As for never being wealthy, we have far more than I ever dreamed of having. You are rich in other ways as well, or we are rich in other ways as well. You have always given me a home that I was happy and proud to live in. We have always had good friends. We raised 3 children as well, and because they all turned out to be good people. Sometimes you drive me crazy, but I will never forget that you truly are a good man. You speak no evil, you see no evil, and you think no evil. You see only the good traits in people. Many years ago, you said the city of Islin on Route 1 is not ugly because the factories which give off smoke put people to work. Elliott, my love, I thank you for giving me a good life. I often wonder what makes me so content, and it's not because my husband is a very good provider who buys me everything that I want. I mean, you do, but that is not what makes me so content. We disagree about things, but we rarely argue or raise our voices in anger. You feel free to do what you enjoy doing, and I feel free to do what I enjoy doing. We do not feel that we need to be with one another for 24 hours a day, nor do we want to be. We are different in so many ways. You, type A, me, type B. You are right-brained, I am left-brained. I cannot do what you do, and you cannot do what I do. We respect and admire each other. Your storytelling and playwriting ability amazes me. You are the biggest fan of my paintings. I guess opposites can have a long and loving relationship. Though the world in turmoil, our love has made our life together peaceful and content. Thank you, Myrna Taubenslag.
Rob Taubenslag, the Wawa King. My sister asked a friend of ours, a great friend of ours, Carla Flitter-Falcone, to sing Papa, Can You Hear Me? And you're in for a treat. She's got a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful voice. Carla Flitter-Falcone. You don't want the chair, correct? You do want the chair?
It's funny, I came into Children's Theater in 1966, I think it was. So I was really little, very shy, always in the back. I don't think I ever really did a part until I was a teenager, and I remember one of the girls had heard me singing. I didn't even think I could sing. I really didn't find my voice until I was probably late in high school or even college. And one of the girls, Rosanna Shines, Elliott lost somebody to play dressmaker. And Rosanna said, Carla can sing. She can play it. Elliott goes, you sing? I was like, I guess. And so he gave me the part, and ever since then, I started doing lead roles, and I was working in the Jan House Playhouse in New York, and he just brought it all out in me, and I got the confidence to sing and perform, and So when I wanted to do a song, I wanted to pick a song that meant something to Debbie, because I know what her father meant to her. And when I told her what I wanted to sing, we both got chills. I got the chills, and we said, that's confirmation from Elliott. He wants you to sing this for Debbie, so I'm going to do this song. Our Heavenly Father, oh God, and my Father who is also in heaven, may the light of this flickering candle illuminate the night the way your Spirit illuminates my soul. Papa, can you hear me? Papa, can you see me? Papa, can you find me in the night? Papa, are you near me? Papa, can you hear me? Papa, can you help me not be frightened? Looking at the skies, I seem to see a million eyes. Which ones are yours? Where are you now that yesterday has waved goodbye and closed its doors? The night is so much darker, the wind is so much colder. The world I see is so much bigger now that I'm alone. Please forgive me, try to understand me. Papa, don't you know I had no choice? Can you hear me praying anything I'm saying, even though the night is filled with voices? I remember everything you taught me, every book I've ever read. All the words and all the books help me to face what lies ahead. The trees are so much taller, and I feel so much smaller. The moon's twice as lonely, and the stars are half as bright. Papa, how I love you, Papa. How I need you, Papa. How I miss you, kissing me.
People talk about your last words, what the parents say to each other. Is she okay? Perfect. My father's last words to me, God's honest truth, I'm not lying. We all took turns sitting with my dad the week he passed. And I have to say, my dad's passing was a really beautiful way to go. We brought in hospice, but we never used him. He was never in any pain. It was basically the hourglass was just dripping and dripping and dripping, and that was it. And he went very, very peacefully. And Dad, you did well. Good job for you. I wish I go the same way. But my dad's last words were, I was sitting up with him. He was in bed, basically almost coma, but he wasn't comatose, laying in bed for about 3 hours. I was watching a movie. on TV, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, he's in bed like this, with his mouth open. And on TV, they took a commercial break, and it said, Nutrisystem, lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Nutrisystem, lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Michael, do that. That was my dad's last words. I've lost 11 pounds since his death, so Dad, I'm trying. I guess about 5, 6 years ago, I needed a new song for my show Beauty and the Beast that went on tour, and I wrote a song that Beauty sings to her papa before she goes to live with the Beast, and it's called Dad. And when I wrote it, I really wrote it about my dad, me saying goodbye to my dad. Because at that point, he wasn't doing well either. My dad had like 9 lives. Friends of ours, he just kept living and living and living, and he basically went on to the end. A PowerPoint presentation, Dad. Hi, Dad. When I wrote this song, I wrote it about you. You've been a wonderful father to me, and I want to thank you. Happy Father's Day.
I am who I am 'cause of you, Dad. I like what I like 'cause of you, Dad. You taught me to be honest and do what is right, so I'll follow your guidance and I'll be all right. I have a wonderful life, Dad, with laughter and joy thanks to you, Dad. The stories you told me when you tucked me in bed are better than any books I've ever read, because they were said by you, Dad. When I am unhappy, you know what to say. You always know what to do. You cheer me up and you brighten my day. Now what will I do without you? You've been an incredible dad, Dad. The best I could ever have had, Dad. And I want you to know, before I let you go, that I'll always love you, Dad. Yes, I'll always love you, Dad.
In my dad's eulogy, he spoke about his gifted grandson, Nicholas, his oldest grandson, being a wonderful writer. He is. He's crying, but we're all crying, Nick. Come on up. Nicholas Taubenslag. Try it.
A letter to my grandfather. What can I say about the beautiful, loving, and selfless soul that is my grandfather? The late Elliott Taubenslag, that all of you haven't said already. In his youth, he acted out the funny papers in order to protect himself from getting beaten up. Without realizing it, he turned a challenge into an opportunity by putting on a show. And you had to be kind and be his friend in order to be in the play. Grandpa was an early father figure to me. I learned a lot about giving and helping others from him. I heard how he welcomed troubled teens into his home and counseled hundreds more. He was a grandfather to kids of all ages. Gramps was very generous with his time, energy, and acts of kindness, from donating regularly to St. Jude, and finally, his body to science. As his last selfless act showed me what a gifting soul he truly was. He showed us all what it really means to be here for a reason and not a season. He brought out the best in people and showed them how to be strong under any circumstance, including me. I admire, honor, and love you, Gramps, for the beautiful, unconditional, loving soul that you are. God bless you. And always remember the truth that once was spoken: to love another person is to see the face of God. Thank you.
Next, a great friend of mine, Kevin Getz, is going to sing. Kevin grew up in East Brunswick. A lot of times in my home, I was at his home, and he became a third son to my father, Elliott. Kevin has gone on to Hollywood, and the new LA Times calls him the Dr. Phil of Hollywood. He's a huge, they really did. He's a big deal. Kevin Getz. Elliott likes you better than David.
Nick, wow, where's Nick? Nick, that was so beautiful, and your grandpa was so proud of you, and he would tell me that. Take a bow again, will you? Because that was so, yes. Oh, isn't it ironic that it's Tony night tonight? And it's Elliott's celebration of life. Wow, and seeing Naomi Sunshine, who is the most extraordinary jazz singer, one of the most extraordinary I've ever heard, actually, and stylist, the most. Don't press your luck, Naomi. I love you so much, and I wish Dolly Vasta could have been here, and others from our past. I wanted to be on Broadway the moment I got onto Elliott's stage. He said, "Where do you want to be?" All the kids were 100 kids on here, and I went, here. From that point, I wanted to be on Broadway. And every year I'd say, "El, I'm going to Broadway." He said, "You're not ready. You're not ready." I said, "What do you mean you're not ready? What do you mean you're not ready? Got to study more, got to study more, got to do more, blah, blah, blah." And so when I was about 14 or 15, Elliott wrote the note to Barbara Jarrett, who was my manager, to Dolly Vasta had worked there. Do you remember, Naomi? She worked for Barbara. And it said, "This is introduce Kevin Getz, who blah, 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 blah." Anyway, she took me, much to my parents' chagrin. Not my dad, who's sitting here, but my mother, who signed the agreement because I was a minor, wrote it up the page at 6 in the morning. "All right, you're ready," because I nagged her so much. I just wanted to be on Broadway. And, I didn't even want to go to college. And I ended up going to college, ironically, with my best friend, Mike, from high school. We both got into here, Mason Gross, School of the Arts, which was a very difficult school to get into. Joe Brunetti, the third of our three musketeers, joined us as well. Kid, don't upstage me, will you, please? No, that's not okay. You'll have your turn. You'll have your turn. So college is coming, and I didn't even want to go. I wanted to go right to New York. And Elliott said, "No, you're not ready." I said, "Elliott, you just gave me the lead in the senior production, Cabaret." I'm like, you keep giving me all this great advice. And so he said to me, "Go to school." I auditioned, we get in, Mike and I are in, and now it's the end of the year. And he says, "Come here." And he hands me a little box. I open it up with a card, and it's a key. It's a gold key. Here it is. And it said, "Congratulations. This is your key to success. You're ready." To hear that from your mentor, is so important, so meaningful. People don't get mentors, don't have mentors so much anymore. Well, he was one of mine. I love you so much, Elliott. You made my life so much better with your belief in me. You made all of the people in this room's lives so much better because of who you are. You made the world a beautiful and wonderful place. Guys, can you all hold hands or something, or put your arm around the person next to you? I know sometimes when you're in church or temple, you go, "Oh God, they're doing that," but let's feel it. Let's feel it, please. And Elliott would not want us to be sad, but you know what? He'd say, "No." And Myrna would say, "Yeah." He'd want us to be happy. But it's hard, Elliott, it's hard. Smile, though your heart is breaking. Smile, even though it's aching. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. When you smile through your fear and sorrow, I smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll find that the sun will come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness. Hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile and maybe you'll not cry. You'll find that life is still worthwhile, because you really touched so many, embraced and inspired anybody who came up on the stage. They got the sage. I rejoice in the light that you gave. I'll forever be brave. You gave the key for me to be so free. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? You know what they're really saying is, I love you. I hear babies cry. Oh, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, Elliott, you made this such a wonderful world. It's Kia and Ty. Kia and Ty. Kia flew in with me from California. Thank you.
Beth Ann, are you out there? In 1986, was it the year 1986 How I Survived High School premiered? Okay. My dad asked his students in 1986, what's on your mind? What makes you feel good? What makes you feel bad? What are you nervous about? What are you going through? And he basically took all their problems and emotions and put them into a play called How I Survived High School. I saw the show, and it had about, I guess, 100 kids in the show, and it blew me away. It was fantastic. And I said, Dad, can I try the show out in New York with a cast of 6? And we ran it. Glenn Slater, who did the music and lyrics, went on to a huge success. Hopefully he'll be here. Are you here, Glenn? Yay! Glenn's here. He did the music and lyrics, and that show opened up in New York, and it ran. And then I toured with it to high schools all over the tri-state area for 10 years. One of the monologues that my dad wrote, he was great with kids shows, but he also wanted to, write other shows as well. My dad wrote shows about hookers. 2 shows about hookers, actually. One called Millions of Miles and one called Scarlet Lullaby. But he also wrote this show, How I Survived High School. And my son is going to do a monologue called I'm Leaving that really is about the teachers. And this was a monologue geared towards teachers, not just students. And you'll see why. My son, Elliott Taubenslag.
Excuse me, Mrs. Sherman? When I passed by your door, I saw you were grading papers. And then everyone always says that you're the hardest working teacher they got here. Always grading papers. Yeah, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. It looks like a big pile of papers. I want to let you know that I'm leaving. I can't pass anyway, so I figure I may as well just leave. Guess I made things a little easier on you. I didn't hand in too many papers. Yeah, well, anyway, I wanted to say goodbye. And I gotta ask you a question. How come you never asked me? How come you never asked me why? Why was I never getting my work done? Why was I always so tired? Why was I always falling asleep in your class? I mean, I know it's not your job, you're supposed to correct my papers, but you never even asked me. If I was a teacher and I had a student falling asleep flunking out of my class, I'd want to know why. Look at me, Mrs. Sherman. I'm not a wise ass or a dirtbag. I mind my own business. I don't even take drugs. Didn't you ever wonder? Or did you just make up your mind about me? The only thing dirty about me is my hands. Look at them. Oil, grease. It's in my skin under my nails. What you don't know about me is that I work. I have to work. In a garage, one of those all-night stands. I put in about 50 hours a week. That's why I fell asleep in your class. Because I was tired. And some nights, I'd work until 3 or 4 in the morning. And then I'd have to haul my ass in here every day by 8. And maybe you don't think so, but I tried. I really wanted that diploma. Look, I don't want you to think that I'm blaming you because I failed. I know it's my fault. What sucks is that I tried so freaking hard and you don't even care!